Hello, and welcome to the Place for Artists. Today, you guys are going to be coming along my week-long journey of painting the largest watercolor painting I've ever created. Not only is this the largest watercolor painting I've ever created, but it's a full work of art. From background to foreground, will I be able to finish it? Stay tuned to find out. So I did get some new paints for this piece. I ended up getting the full half pan set of the Winsor & Newton Cotman. I found out recently that more than half of my watercolors do fade in the sunlight. So if you want to check out that two-part series, you can click the cards right here and you can see if your watercolors are light fast as well. So after I've unboxed all of my watercolors, I've done some test swatches and some blends. Now I am ready and I have all the knowledge I need on how these paints work on this paper to get started on my sketch. So I did end up deciding to do my sketch on my iPad. I wanted to make sure that I didn't damage my watercolor paper with my excessive amount of erasing. So it took about 2 days, but I finally decided on a pose using a reference that I found on Pinterest. All of my links will be down below. So after finishing it over the course of like 2.5 days, I realized I could not print this piece because it is a 10 by 14. I've never painted this large and I didn't think about my printer not being able to print it. So I had to go to FedEx and get that printed out, and I came home and then I ran into another issue of realizing my light box hasn't come yet. So I had to wait an additional 2 days for that to arrive so that I could transfer the sketch from the piece of paper I got printed at FedEx to the giant watercolor piece. And let's just say painting this large comes with challenges when you've never painted this large. So after 3 days of errors and challenges and just waiting for everything to arrive, we finally arrive on day 6 of this project. Yes, not a lot of time left to finish it, but we will see. So I tape my pieces of paper together and I start tracing. I decided to trace with a Prismacolor colored pencil because I wanted to try and make sure that the character didn't stick too far out from the background. I'm trying to do a more painterly style, but I did kind of wish that I didn't use only burnt sienna. I should have chose the colors a little more careful based on what the character was actually wearing. So I should have done like a green or blue for the background and the water. I should have done a more blue, light blue for the shirt because her shirt is white, and like a black or dark blue for her pants. I didn't do that, but you know, it's okay. It's a lesson learned. And hopefully by the end of this painting, the brown doesn't stick out too much. So by far, day 6 has been my easiest day of this week. But what I did find out when going to start painting this piece, the light on my light box it blew out. So I had to go to Walmart, get a new light. Thankfully, they had 2 of them left and 1 of them were broken. So I got this really yellow light, but I'm kind of loving how it makes my skin look. And now we can finally move on to the challenge of this video, which is painting the largest watercolor painting I've ever created before. Tackling my first problem, getting paint on the paper. It was very daunting. There was so much real estate and I just wasn't sure what to do. So what I decided was let's just do some base colors. And not just base colors everywhere. I tried to do the base colors for the background and then the base shadows on the character and the dog. This way I could really make sure I'm paying attention to the dramatic lighting on my character and not lose sight of that. So after 3 weeks of not painting before starting this piece, I finally get some paint on the paper and I'm thinking about my New Year's goals. I'm going to be tackling 3 of them within just this one piece. Very daunting. 1, I wanted to prioritize quality over quantity on my videos, which is why this one has taken so long to create. And then I also decided that I wanted to really practice painting backgrounds, which this one is a full piece. And I wanted to push my watercolor skills to its limits. So I decided to do some really dramatic lighting, really layer up my tone so when I get to the full piece of art and it's finished, it's really full bodied and robust. and amazing. So when painting this piece, I wanted to really gradually build up the colors. Like I said, I want to do different tones of blue in the water and in the sky. I wanted to have the mountains. Now, when I'm thinking about the lighting, the mountains will have like a blue cast over them because they are really far in the background, but they do have a little bit of a green tinge. So I decided, let's layer green for the mountains and then build up blue layers on top of it. This way it doesn't blend too much into the sky or the water, and it has its own texture while still creating that blue cast over the entire background. So throughout this piece, working on the skin, I did do the background first just so I could lay some base colors down, and then I moved to the foreground. I really wanted to work on the character, and I just decided to place those base shadows. Like I said, I didn't want to focus on anything else but getting the darker colors down and leaving the lighter tones practically white. This way, when I go about finishing the background, I can really gauge how much I want the character to stick out from the background instead of trying to darken my midground and foreground to match the character. So as we come to a close on the 7th day of painting, this is what I have finished so far. Now, with my New Year's goal, I was not going to sacrifice the quality of this piece, so we're going to be turning this into a 2-part series. So far, I think this piece is really coming along together, and it was extremely daunting to start painting the largest watercolor painting I've ever created, but I'm really excited to see how this finishes. This is going to need probably 1,000 more layers of paint before it's finished. If you guys want to see this finished piece of work, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss that video. And if not, you are always welcome to come hang out at the Place for Artists. Bye!